When the British left in 1963, the system of government that was left was Majimbo, the federal government. It was called federal government. They left the same in Somalia. They left the same in Nigeria. The Nigeria and Somalia, they never changed the constitution. They never tried to change the constitution to centralize everything. They understood, because again, the British, they've been here for almost at that time they've been here for almost 60 years, 60 plus years. So they understood now the intricacies and the complication of running running a government or running a nation that is it has a lot of tribes within it. So them, they understood that by by having a federal government with now the locals within that region given power to control how they're going to utilize their resources, it minimizes conflicts. It minimizes conflicts. And yes, of course, I know we can quote, we can say that why is not the Somali government, why is it dysfunctional? Why is Nigeria not doing so well? But let's look at, for example, South Africa. South Africa is purely also it's federal, because each region has its own government. They have their own elective seats. They call it municipalities. So I think if, for example, now we want to cure the problems that we're facing as a country, my focus should be now on each and every one of us now to do. We go back to what all things were supposed to be done in 1963. Have a purely federal system of government where each region now will feel is part of the nation, is part of the government. Because when you look at the dynamics as it is now, the combination of Kikuyus and Kalenjins, that's presidency. The combination of Kalenjins and Luos, that's presidency. The combination of Luos and Kalenjins, that's presidency. Where will these other tribes go, for example, in terms of now leadership, national leadership? One is, because yes, we are democratic. We are democracy. And a purely democracy, it means the majority wins and the minority have their say. They can only have their say through parliament, which again you find they have the minority numbers of elected leaders because of their population. So for us now to cure all these problems that we're facing is, if, for example, now we have a federal state of government, like what was called now the Majimboism, it can actually cure all these problems, because we'll have about 8 regional governments that control 60% of the national budget. Then now the national government now will should only focus on few things. They only need to focus on very few things. One is in terms of development of infrastructure that are across states. Development of security, the issues of security. That is now the military itself. The police should be devolved. So each state, for example, should have their own police, and now they are supposed to be funded the way the Americans do. The Americans, each state has its own police, and it's controlled by the state. It's not controlled by the federal government. The other aspect, of course, now the national government can be able now to control the issue of the port of Mombasa, airports, and those kind of things. But the bulk of the money should go to the federal state. If the federal state now decide now to devolve further, that's up to them. But of course, there's very little much that you can achieve if you devolve government. Like you have 3,000 of government. No, 2 tiers is perfectly okay. Say that now the national government focuses on very few aspects, maybe 3 or 4 critical aspects. The rest, each state will elect their own president. They will have their own Senate. They will have their own members of parliament, like what is happening in the US and even South Africa, for example, and also in South Sudan and Somalia. That is the only way we can be able now to carry this, because every election year you will find now the big 3 or the big 4 will one or the other have an alliance. Like now, look at what happened in 2002. It was Kikuyus, Luos, and Kampas, and they won. They beat Moi. They beat Moi's candidate big time in 2000. You remember the 2005 referendum? What happened? It was a combination of Kales and Luos and Luyas. And what exactly happened? They gave Kibaki a beating of his life. 2007, of course, ODM won, but of course they were rigged out by Kibaki. 2013, it was a combination of Kalenjins and Kikuyus, and you saw what happened. Same case in 2002, and it will continue like that until until I don't know, until we mature, which again is never, it never, it's not gonna happen. I mean, we are tribal, we are tribal. By the end of the day, whether you have PhD, you have a PhD, you have a what, by the end of the day, when the election comes, it's like there's a demo that comes, and then we go tribal. So my point is, we need to change the foundation of everything.